Hello, welcome to the Dear Encourager podcast, where real stories meet radical hope. Hosted by Vanessa Scott and Keisha Nix. This space is made for anyone navigating the journey of chronic illness and caretakers seeking connection, compassion, and a community that gets it. Each episode, we bring you conversations that uplift, strategies that empower, and encouragement you can carry with you throughout everyday life. Let's grow stronger and healthier together. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. It's me, Vanessa. Keisha is not with us tonight, but we know she's here in spirit with us, and we hope that she's not feeling well. So we're just wishing her the best wishes and feeling better real soon. But tonight we will be discussing breast cancer awareness. As you guys all are aware, that is October and it's breast cancer awareness. Our special guest tonight is my very own sister-in-law. Her story is about healing. It's about grace. It's about receiving the love and the care that she has always given to others. So she was a caregiver, is a caregiver, but when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, she herself had to be cared for. So that's what we'll be discussing tonight, a path of resilience, a journey. And let's welcome Undria Dixon, aka Angel, to me.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
I just want to say thank you for taking the opportunity to come on and share your story with us.
Mhm.
First, can you just tell us what life was like? I'll let you tell your story. I didn't tell it, but I want to know how life was. Let our family and friends know how your life was before your diagnosis, and then we'll talk about your journey and how your life was after.
Okay, so before my diagnosis, I actually was a caregiver years ago. Are we going back to years ago how I became a caregiver? So if we're going back that far, I'll give credit to my aunt who was a caregiver, and then she would take me with her to help her care for people. And I think I want to say I was 12 or 13 when I started being a caregiver, and I loved it. I cared for the elderly with her. So then, as I got older, I decided to become a CNA. So then it went from CNA to CMA and then phlebotomist. So I just kind of climbed the ladder that way, but I always wanted to work with people. Um, that's just been one of my things. I love to give. Um,
Mhm.
there's not one day that I don't want to give to somebody and make somebody happy or make somebody smile. That's just the way that I am. And I don't care if um I'm not happy. I want to make them happy.
Well, we all talk about that, being that
Yes.
sacrifice, that sacrificial lamb as a caregiver,
Yes.
always giving is just like, oh, I can be put on side, I can be put to the back burner. And that's why your story, just like others, are so important because I know that was a hard step to take to place yourself on the front burner
It was.
with your diagnosis. Tell us a little bit about that. You told us about being a caregiver in the past and how that journey became. But tell us just slightly right before, if you can think about how your life was, how, chaotic because you have several children, school age children. You
Several.
also have
Yes.
three adult children.
Mm-hmm.
So I know those are different journeys of life. Being a mom of school agers, all of your
Yes.
kids at that time were under the age of 10. I believe if I'm being correct, right? Or
Yes.
except that I'm
All of
talking about the
my
little ones now.
the
Then your
littles,
adult
yes.
ones.
The littles are under
Yes.
18. Yes.
Yes, but I'm saying when you were diagnosed, they were all under the age of 10, correct?
Yes, they were.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
exactly. So that's a big difference. So I just want to give us a little brief. Um,
So
uh,
actually, um, in the middle of that, if I'm being really, really honest and transparent, I really knew that I had breast cancer. Um, I just didn't say anything just yet. I knew that I had it because I did a self breast exam. So I knew I had it. But I was in the middle of fighting for one of my children. And I felt like if I said something, that they wouldn't give her to me. So I waited before I said anything.
okay. And I want to just shine a light on something that you said that was very important, that you knew before you got that diagnosis because you did self exams. And I
Yes,
know people talk about it and they encourage it, but a lot of us don't do that daily, especially women in the upper ages who maybe are going through menopause or, you know, just at a different stage in life that aren't taking those steps when that's when we really should be making sure that we're doing those
right.
self exams to make sure that,
Mm-hmm.
because we're at higher risk the older we get. And so hopefully
Yes.
that resonates with someone how doing the self exams, early detection is very, very
It's
vital
very, very
to us.
important. And especially the one that I had affects most brown skinned women. I had triple negative. So it affects us brown skinned women. And so it's really, really important to make sure that you not only do your breast exam, but also advocate for yourself because, they told me that I didn't have breast cancer. So,
Mm.
they will say, no, you're too young, and oh, this is your breasts feel normal, and and I let them know, no, I've had these breasts for years, and they've never had a lump right here. So, I know my breast, and so it's very, very important that you do advocate for yourself.
So the two things I just heard you state is know your body because
Yes,
you know your body best if you do those self examination and
that's
it's
right.
normal. You know what your normal tissue feels like, and then advocate, making sure
Absolutely.
that we advocate for ourselves. And we know that a lot of times we're not heard,
I'm
you know.
just thank you guys. Okay.
So we do know that a lot of times we're not heard when we are advocating for ourselves or where we're stating certain things to doctors, nurses, medical professionals. So making sure that you advocate that, but first of all, knowing your body, knowing what is off, because what's off for you is not necessarily off for someone else. And that's what I hear you were saying is that they told you no, it's okay. Your
Yes.
breasts feel normal. Not these, not
Mhm.
mine. For
Yeah, that's
somebody
what.
else, this might be normal, but mine are
No.
not normal.
Right. I said, no, I promise. I've never had a lump here. And so she said, well, if you would like, if you insist, that's what her exact words were. If you insist, then I will get you a diagnostic breast exam. So I said, I insist. So she did.
Good
And
for you.
even when he did it, the diagnostic, he said, well, I saw what you're feeling, he said, but I'll tell you, I don't think it's cancer. He said it's not um, misshapen, it's perfectly round in shape. So he said, I don't think it's breast cancer at all. So I said, okay, and I had already prayed about it, accepted it. And, I knew, like I said, I knew what it was. It was very painful. Um, to touch. So I knew what it was and I had accepted it. My thing was, I just need to get this diagnosis so we can get started. so I can know what I need to do to fight. So,
Okay. Can you, when you say you accepted it, what other emotions did you have? Because when you say accept, it's just like acknowledge. So give
well,
me more about, when you say you accepted it, what were some of those feelings and those thoughts that went through your
I
head?
think more of I guess the acceptance was that um, I do have to fight. I knew that. So I've got to just um, go ahead. And I'm a control freak. My sister-in-law knows that I am. I'm a control freak. So my way of handling it was, okay, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna let them cut both breasts off. Because if I got it in one, I'm gonna go on and cut the other one off, just uh to make sure that it's not gonna be in the other one. And I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get this chemo and I'm gonna get back to life. I'm not fixing
So
to let this stop me.
you had your own treatment plan already ready.
Oh yeah, I didn't need them to tell me what my treatment was going to be. This is going to be my treatment right here. I'm gonna get these boobs cut off, and I'm not going to worry about you know if I'm going to die or not. That really wasn't in my mind. Actually, dying just wasn't in my mind. I said, it's not my business anyway. That's God's business. So that just wasn't in my mind. I was just ready to fight.
Okay. And that was gonna go into our next segment. And my next question for you is that you just stated you are a person who likes to be in control.
Hmm.
You are the caregiver. So relinquishing that control. Tell me about that. When you
Yeah,
had to be the person that can, now you were good at fighting. I'm going to do all I have to do because
yeah.
this is not going to take me out. But tell me about how it was to relinquish that control and just give in to being the person who needed to be cared for.
That was very difficult because, again, I am a control freak. So, um, I'll tell you the first thing that I did in giving away control was I feel like I cleared out my room and I turned it over. My walls were red. It's all white now. I asked him to come and do my room. I needed it fixed so it could be my fight room. And so I had them to come and redo that. Um, I switched my side of the bed from being the back side of the bed to the front side of the bed so I could get to the bathroom quicker if I needed to. Um, that's a control thing too because I like the space.
I'm waiting for the relinquish of control because I haven't heard it yet. I haven't heard it yet, so
Listen,
I'm waiting.
I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to figure out where I gave up the control. I'm trying to figure out I did give up control somewhere. Um,
When did
I
you
guess.
say? Give me the example when you
Ugh,
said it's okay for them to take care of me. I have been the caregiver of my children. I have been the caretaker of my husband in different ways. I have been the caretaker and the
mm,
caregiver and the biggest support system to my adult children.
I
It's
think that
okay
was
for them to look after me.
when I had the lumpectomy,
Okay.
um, and the port put
Is that
in.
the surgery?
Yes, I
Okay.
had the lumpectomy and they put the port in that day. I think that's when I kind of relinquished control, and I was like, okay, I got to sit down, because I feel like, and I kept saying in my mind anyway, this is God's way of telling me, sit your butt down. You have got to rest. That's the way I took the diagnosis, is that he was telling me, Angel, you have done so much for people. It's time for you to rest. But I was hard headed. So he said, okay, well, I'm going to sit you down then. And so I had to sit down. Like, I couldn't run after the kids like I wanted to. So, like maybe my oldest daughter would have to take the kids. to their game, or I missed a lot of church. You know, I had to not do that. Ooh, gosh, this is emotional. Um,
It's okay.
uh, Man, it's very triggering because just thinking about going back to when the kids couldn't be in the room with me. I had to, give that up because I needed the quiet. I couldn't stand like loud noises when I would have the chemo, the sound, different sounds. I even had to change my ringtone because it would make a like the chirping noise. It would do something
Yes.
in my head. So yeah, but yeah, that loss of control is a big thing for me because I'm so used to caring for everybody. So
Well, also, it wasn't just the loss of control. I think it's also when I hear you and you teared up and you got emotional about your children not being able to be in the room. It was
yeah,
also a loss of that protectiveness, that safety net that you've always been for your kids, and
yeah,
not having the opportunity at that moment in time to be there. That had to be difficult, and that had to
yes,
be very hard for you.
it was.
But in that time and space, you were able to allow other people to take that pressure off of you because
Yeah,
you weren't able and capable of doing it. And I'm sure the kids were taken care of and they were good and they were
they
fine.
were. And the funny thing is, I really didn't know how independent they were until I got sick. Like, literally, I never knew the stuff that they can do. I didn't know it because I always do it for them. So I just never knew, like running their bath water or getting their clothes out or like something simple, fixing a sandwich, you know, fixing noodles. I always do that stuff for them. So, but when I was sick, my daughter was like, no, no, you can do this for yourself. You can make your own sandwich. No, you can make those noodles. That's what the microwave is for. Mama is sick. You got to learn to do this for yourself. So, yeah, I learned a lot being sick. I learned that they
I
can
feel
do
like the
stuff.
whole family learned a lot when you were
Yes.
sick.
Yeah.
So, with that, and you saying that your daughter came in and helped you and
Hmm.
everything, how was that role switching, where,
Well,
you you weren't the mom for a little bit with the adult child. You were,
that
you
was
know,
difficult because, well, that one, the one I'm talking about, that's actually the one that I say grew me up. She's the one that changed my name to Mama, you know.
okay.
So that was a whole role switch because I was the kid, you know. I became the one that Mama. Now, you're not supposed to be doing this, or Mama, aren't you supposed to be laying down? Yes, and I'm going to lay down. Then get back in bed. These kids are fine. It's like, and now I know how she felt when I would say, you're not supposed to do, whatever, whatever. No, you go back in there. And that's how I would feel like, okay, you know,
And
it
so
was
now you were the
difficult.
one being reprimanded for not doing what you were
Right,
supposed to do.
right. And did you take your vitamins? No, I haven't taken my vitamins today. Why? Take your vitamins. So yeah, it was a lot of learning how to be um, an adult kid, I guess.
In that, with the difference of the role changes and everything, how how did your relationships change with your adult children, your husband? How did that during that time? Because we
Well,
know that that does happen.
with the adult kids, I feel like the relationship was weird. We got stronger, but weaker a little bit because they, I think one wanted to do more than the other, and so that became, sorry, that became an issue where one, oh, I'm gonna do this, so it kind of got to be a little bit of an argument. Um, So I would have to say, no, I need you on this day and you on this day, and we split things up that way. That way, nobody felt like they was getting left out or nobody felt like, well, she's just taking over, mama. She ain't letting us do anything, you know. Um, and then as far as with husband, I felt like because we didn't spend time together hardly ever, and when we did spend time together, the kids were there or we were talking about the kids. But this was something that was so different, and it was, to me, it was so special because it was our 3 hours alone that we had together. um he went to all my treatments with me, and we would eat. That was our thing. We would have breakfast together. And as soon as they would give me the Benadryl, they would give me Benadryl, Tylenol, and something for my stomach so that I wouldn't get upset. My stomach wouldn't get upset. They would give that to me, and I go, okay, it's time for our nap. And I would lay back and go to sleep, and I would sleep through the whole treatment, and I would wake up, be 3 hours later. I was like, well, we had a good date, didn't we? So it ended up being like a date for us. I just feel like that too was God's way of bringing us closer, because we never saw each other. So at least for a whole year, we got to see each other.
It sounds like that was a rediscovery for you
It
too
was.
during that
Yeah, it
time.
was.
And with your adult kids, what you said is what I think is very vital and important for people when we're having caregivers, as you said, because I know even with my experience, we creating a plan. That's when we talk about make sure you create a plan, create a calendar, a time. That way,
Yeah.
no one, as you said, no one feels slighted, nor no one also sometimes it feels like, well, I'm doing everything and she's doing nothing,
Yeah.
those type of things. But if we say, okay, so you're off, oldest daughter, you're off on Tuesdays. Okay, so you're gonna do this on Tuesday. Youngest daughter, you're off on Fridays, you're gonna do this, giving people their own role and whatever they're great at.
Mhm.
So if you're not good at the detailed thing, then I'm not going to put you on anything that's detail oriented. Or if you're
Yeah.
not good at organizing, using their skill set. And I think that's one thing that I try to put out there for people who about caregiving, because a lot of times, especially in our culture, black and brown people, we feel it
Mhm.
as an obligation and we don't take the
Yes.
necessary steps in planning on how we're going to care for these people. Not to say that you shouldn't,
Right.
if that's something that you desire, but we have to do it appropriately where we are making sure that we're taking care of those people to the best of our
Mhm.
ability that's most effective and efficient for them, and also making sure that we're not placing more undue burdens financially,
Yeah,
emotionally, spiritually on ourselves.
that's right. And
So I
that's the
think
one
that's
thing
very important.
you want to make sure that you do, like you said, you do have a plan, and that one thing isn't more on one child or one caregiver than the other, because it does become a burden, and you don't want that person to be, I don't know if the word's irritated or whatever, by having feeling that they have to do this because maybe they're the oldest, or maybe because they're, usually it's the oldest and the youngest child that feel that way. The middle one usually doesn't, but it's generally the oldest and the youngest child that feels more of the brunt of everything. So I feel like you do need to make sure you have a plan in place so that neither party feels like they're, have to be the burden bearer of everything.
And see, mine was different. I wasn't the oldest nor the youngest, but I was the only girl.
Yes. And see,
So
that plays a
I
part
felt
too.
it was
You're
my
the only
duty.
girl. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're right.
So a lot of times, people just, and as I've talked to you before in the past, like, I felt like it was out of my place, or inappropriate for me to ask you and Lee for help when you
Yes.
guys had the kids. So, it's just talking those things out and people understanding that, we all can play a part. It's not, you know, one person's duty over the
Mhm.
other. And if we create a plan, everybody knows the plan. Everybody has the
That's
expectations
right.
of, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what she's going to do. And then all of that, it takes care of a lot of that. So I
Yeah,
think that's
it
important
does.
to make sure that we do that. So before we end, I want to ask you two questions.
Hmm.
After your diagnosis, did you have a shift in, I'm a believer that we all were created with a purpose. Did your purpose change, or did you believe that your purpose was revealed to you? Was it anything different from before your diagnosis?
I feel like uh, that before my diagnosis, I was a lot more reserved, um, a lot quieter. I didn't like to speak in front of people. But now I'm going to speak and say what needs to be said. Um, I want to be an encourager and a world changer. And so I make sure that I speak, you know. And you know me, I don't like being in front of crowds. I don't, but I feel like God wants me to do this, and he keeps speaking to me. So,
And that's great. And that's why I asked you to come on, because you're right. Before, you did not talk a lot. Um, but I believe that your story is worth telling. I'm glad that you're out here speaking up about breast cancer awareness, making sure that people
mhm.
get their mammogram. If there was one thing that you could leave a person watching this, a woman who may be going through this challenge, what would you tell her? What would you say to her?
Oh, there's a lot more than one thing, but if there was just one thing that I
Okay,
would
well,
say,
three. Your top three things that you would say.
please hold on to your faith. That's the biggest thing, is hold on to your faith. That's number one. Don't let go of it. And know that, I know people say it's going to be all right. Really, it's going to be all right. Whether you're on this side or the other side, it's going to be all right. Um, and our destiny is not our business, it's God's business. Um, we're just passing through. The other thing is, let people help you. Let them help you. I learned that the hard way, because they want to. It's not that they don't want to. We just keep pushing them aside. Let them help you. Um, and also, as I said earlier, just be sure to advocate for yourself, because, they like to try to test us out and use different things on us that's not needed. So be sure to advocate for yourself. If it's something you don't want, don't take it. And research for yourself also, because I'm a researcher. So research for yourself. Oh, and one more thing. I'm just so sorry. One more thing.
And no, you're fine.
Take somebody with you that has good ears, that's a good note taker, Vanessa Dixon, and that is is not like your spouse that's scared with you. Take somebody that's the calm of you both.
Okay, so I'm going to recap her. That was five. So her first is faith, making sure that you hold on to your faith. The second one was believe and know that you're going to get through this. You will be okay. When whatever your okay looks like, it's going to be All right.
Mhm.
The third thing was to advocate for yourself. Make sure you advocate for yourself. Wait a minute, I skipped one. Um, I'm gonna come back to it. The other thing she was take someone with you who can take notes and can hear, because it's not clouded by the person. If you're the person who has just had the diagnosis or your spouse who's right there with you, with you guys, you are in the forest at right at that moment, so you can't
Mhm.
see all the trees. So make sure that you're taking someone else who's level headed and who's able to be your ears at that time when you can come back and reflect on the information that's given to you. Um, and the other thing was to be open, 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 open to people
Yes.
caring for you. And I'm glad
Yeah.
I used that one as last, is because that is so hard for
It
us
is.
caregivers, is to open up and allow ourselves to
Yep.
be cared for, to be loved on the way that you love and pour into others. It's
Mhm.
necessary and you deserve it. That's what I'm going to say, is you deserve it. So allow that into your space. Did I hit them all?
You did.
Great. So thank you again so much for sharing your story with me. Thank
Mhm.
you for coming on. I love you.
Thank
I
you.
am so happy and excited that you decided to do this with me. If anyone out there needs more information, please reach out to us,
Mhm. Yes, for
dearencourager.org.
sure.
Send us a text message, contact us, call us. You can catch us on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all social media platforms. Once again, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for tuning in to Dear Encourager. We hope today's episode brought you comfort, strength, and a reminder that you're not alone. Your support helps us grow this space of hope and healing, one listener at a time.